On the 9th of March 2018, election rivals former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Azimio leader Raila Odinga turned up on the steps of Harambee House and shook hands.
I was at office of the President. That morning I had gone to the boss's office, Honorable Raila.
Well, on the 9th of March, I was in Harambee House Annex. I was with the Deputy President in his office, and he is the one who told me there is something about to happen across the road.
The handshake came as a surprise to many of us. I mean, I just saw online people were saying, hey, have you seen? Baba is at Harambee House. Baba is at Harambee House.
Well, I was somewhere in Bondo, actually, coincidentally. I was, unfortunately, I'd lost one of my kid sisters, and we were going for the funeral. But let's be honest, and the President has been very honest about this. It wasn't a surprise to many of us.
I was working at home. I was in my study.
It was not the first political handshake the country had seen, and it had all the heckles of February 28, 2008 handshake between the late President Mwai Kibaki and opposition leader Raila Odinga. The Back-Hell too had memories of 2007, a bitterly disputed election results. On the 11th of August 2017, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) had declared Uhuru Kenyatta the Jubilee Party candidate winner of the elections with 54.2% of the votes cast against Raila Odinga of the National Super Alliance, who garnered 44.9%. NASA rejected these results and petitioned at the Supreme Court, which in a historic decision declared the presidential elections as null and void.
The court was satisfied that the first respondent committed irregularities and illegalities inter alia in the transmission of results, rendering the declared results invalid, null, and void.
The former Prime Minister told his supporters not to go for the repeat polls because the Electoral Commission was the same. And on September 10, 2021, the ODM leader formally declared his 2022 bid and fifth stab for the top seat.
Having been faithful and committed to building a national, democratic and progressive Kenya in our lifetime, having worked for many patriotic Kenyans to achieve this goal, I do hereby accept to present myself as a presidential candidate at the presidential elections on the 9th of August 2022, following the request and unanimous decision by
The then head of state Uhuru Kenyatta hosted more than 3,000 young people under the offices of ICT ministry, ostensibly to review the progress of youth empowerment initiatives and affirmative action programs. But the August 9, 2022 succession contest dominated with the president backing his handshake partner, ODM leader Raila Odinga's bid under the Azimio la Umoja movement.
Ndio sisi tunataka hii azimio ambayo itatulete pamoja. Because
with Jubilee lawmakers a week ago endorsing his leader past his presidential term, a decision that was awaited clarification by the National Delegates Convention in 2 weeks, Kenyatta declared on all-out political contest.
Na ndio mimi sasa nimesema, kwa sababu wakati wa siasa umefika, sisi kama Jubilee sasa tumetoka ofisi na sasa tunaingia kiwanja ya siasa.
Kenyatta's fallout with his deputy William Ruto has played out the open war on the words, escalating as the countdown to August polls continue. Kenyatta tracing his fiction with Ruto to his March 2018 handshake with Odinga after the contested presidential race in 2017, whose outcome was nullified by the Supreme Court.
Inahitaji give and take. And give and take when you have everything is not an easy choice. But we took the hard route, to the disappointment, unfortunately, even of some of my own friends, who thought that we should take the hard route. But I want to assure you, had we taken that hard route, some of the things that we are celebrating today would not be there.
Yet again, the president defended the Building Bridges initiative and the clamor for constitution changes that was twice shot down by the courts and a final shot by the Supreme Court.
What was BBI? What were we trying to resolve? Tulikuwa tunasema, right? We have a disconnect in terms of the way our resources as a country are divided. All right? Because we also have a disconnect in representation, right? So we said, that's one area that we must resolve. And how do we resolve it without also hurting those who are our brothers and sisters who are already enjoying the constituencies and other things that they have? Vijana tuko pamoja.
With the youthful population forming the bulk of the country's voting bloc, Kenyatta rallied to the State House meeting to back Odinga's presidential bid.
Mimi nimewaita hapa, ndio mimi nipate nafasi, nijaribu kuwasetia agenda. Ile ambaye, nyinyi muna uwezo wa kurudi mitaani, vijijini, pahali mmetoka, kuanzisha debate. Na kuuliza wenzenu, where does our future lie? Tunaelewana?
The former head of state listed continuity in development projects and national unity among key considerations in picking his own successor.
I was elected to serve the people of Kenya, those who voted, those who didn't vote. And one of the greatest things that I shall never forget and I will always go home with is some of the few memories of while working and the things that we have seen done. As a result of just reaching out and shaking hands, there was peace in the country.
After the numerous false starts witnessed in Kenya Kwanza on 14th May 2022, as former DP William Ruto ended his long economic policy speech with a running mate announcement.
I present to you the Kenya Kwanza running mate candidate, my brother and friend, Rigathi Gachagua.
The 17-hour standoff fielded former Madhira MP Rigathi Gachagua, hailed by William Ruto as fearless person.
My friend, whom I have worked with, especially on the economic model that now has famously been referred to the bottom-up economic model. And we started that journey together. He understands people issues. He is passionate about ordinary people. A living example of a true hustler who rose from the hardships of the aftermath of our freedom struggle to the pinnacle of professional, business, and political success.
Cometh the hour, cometh the lady. I have the great honor to announce that I have picked as my running mate and Cabinet Secretary for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Martha Wangari Karua.
It was jubilation at the KICC Nairobi on 16th May 2022 as the Azimio leader Raila Odinga declared to have settled on Martha Karua. Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga met what termed as historical move in the country in nominating to be his running mate.
History is calling us to close the gender gap in our country. History is calling on us to reciprocate the struggles and fidelity of our women. History is calling on us to produce our first woman deputy president.
On the 57th Labor Day celebrations, former President Uhuru Kenyatta blamed Ruto for running away from duties.
Angalia hii bei imepanda, uliza Uhuru. Yaani mimi Uhuru niko Ukraine, mimi ninafanya nini huko? Jameni. Mimi COVID nilikuwa huko kulea kutoa mimi. Badala ya kuja kunisaidia, kuniambia niko na mawaidha hii na njia hii na njia hii, njia ambaye tunaweza tuokoe watu yetu wakati tunagojea mambo haya yaishe, wewe huko kwa soko na matusi. Na wewe unajiita kiongozi na unajiita ati wewe ndio sijui namba ngapi katika nchi ya Kenya. Uko wapi? Badala ya kunisaidia kuondoa hiyo shida, wewe uko kwa soko kusema ulizeni ule. Basi si ungewacha uniwachie mimi nitafute mtu ambaye angenisaidia jameni.
Ruto, on the other hand, also blamed Uhuru for betrayal, but went ahead and told him to stay away from his succession politics.
Si kweli. Sisi ndio tulifanya kampeni ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Sisi ndio tulimpigia kura. Hawa marafiki zako wapya kina Madhakarua na Kitendawili hawajawahi kukupigia kura hata siku moja. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Kwani Kitendawili amewahi kupigia kura Uhuru Kenyatta? Ule Madhakarua amewahi kupigia kura Uhuru Kenyatta? Si hawa watu ni matapeli? Si ni watu selfish? Si ni wakora? Si ni watu wanataka kuvuna mahali hawajapanda? Lakini mimi namwambia rafiki yangu rais, si namna hiyo. Mimi sina shada my friend. Mimi nilikusaidia, lakini mimi sikuulizi unisaidie. Mimi nakuomba tu kitu kimoja. Wewe niwaachie bwana Kitendawili nipambane na yeye. Ama ni aje? Si namna hiyo. Tunaelewana? Huyu Kitendawili tutamumalizia asubuhi na mapema.
17 days to the general election, the Electoral Commission IEBC and the National Police Service were at loggerheads over the arrest, detention and subsequent release of a Venezuelan international. According to the former Inspector General for Police, Hilary Mutyambai, the foreigner was apprehended at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport for transporting electoral materials as personal luggage. But according to the former IEBC chair Wafula Chebukati, the Venezuelan national, arrested alongside 2 employees of Smartmatic, a company contracted to supply election technology, was an act of harassment and intimidation by the police.
Ukweli ni kwamba hawa si staff wetu. Ile kampani ambayo imeleta teknolojia ya election, au ni wafanyikazi wao. Wawili wamekuwa hapa wakifanya kazi for the last 3 months. Huyo mmoja alikuwa anakuja na hizo vimbadiko inaitwa ni sticker.
But if you're procuring, there's a process in which you deliver goods into the country. You cannot just have it in your luggage na unaingia nayo. Who are you? You're from Venezuela. Even the companies are not from the company that is contracted was not from Venezuela, even if they have a branch, or Panama. So there's things that must be cleared, and as a country we must be sure that whatever is being done is done above board. But I don't think there's any mischief that the government is trying to do anything. This is something straightforward. If you find me with election material and I'm not IEBC, wouldn't you ask me what I'm doing with that material?
Though the former IG claimed that the 3 Smartmatic officials were released and the confiscated stickers released, but the IEBC hold a different view. According to Chebukati, the trio's release was conditional after spending hours at the Anti-Terrorism Police Unit, the commission stating that it was unable to prepare for the August 2022 polls after the stickers the technology officials were carrying were taken away by the Anti-Terror Police Unit officers. Other confiscated items, according to the IEBC chair, included mobile phones, laptops, and flash disks that were in possession of the arrested officials. The electronic items, according to the commission, contained important information relating to the August general election. Information the commission said was accessible to the National Police Service since the Smartmatic officials had been compelled to surrender their passwords. IG, however, insisted his officers acted in public interest, an argument contested by the Kenya Kwanza leadership.
The stickers were not accompanied by the IBC officials as per routine procedures. And thirdly, that such sensitive materials were carried in a personal luggage of a foreigner. They came as a personal luggage.
If they break the law, then the IG is out of order for releasing people who have break the law. When people break the law, you prosecute them. They arrested them. They did not lock them up at the airport as persons who had breached immigration laws. They took them to the Anti-Terrorist Police Unit.
It calls for transparency, but there is no law that has been breached. After all, when they were there, IEBC officials were there, and they clarified to them that these people are contractors of IEBC. But they disregarded that and still took away those people.
As the vote hunt continued, Ruto in Nandi and Bungoma counties fired at President Uhuru Kenyatta as the date to the ballot beacon. In Kapsabet town, one of his support bases, Ruto took on the president 10 days to the State House duel.
Na mimi nataka nimwambie rais, wacha kuniletea maneno my friend. Wewe sukuma candidate yako bwana kitendawili. Unaniongelea nini? Sijui kama tunaelewana. Mr. President, please stop talking about me. Talk about your candidate. Tunaelewana? Wachana na William Ruto. I supported you when you needed a man to support you. If you do not want to support me, leave me alone.
Ruto's outburst was triggered by a series of meetings held by President Uhuru Kenyatta in Nakuru as he launched development projects and campaigned for the Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga. Uhuru terming is unfit for the country's top job.
Hata hawa wengine ni wetu, lakini inaonekana they need time ya kutulia, si ndio? Kuacha matusi, kuacha spidi nyingi na kujua ya kwamba kazi na ukweli washinda matusi na chuki.
Tafadhali bwana rais, you shouldn't be the source of threats in Kenya. Wacha kutuambia ya kwamba tutakujua wewe ni rais. Sisi ndio tulikuchagua na tulikuchagua uwe rais wa Kenya. Wacha kututisha. Sisi hapana watu wa kutishwa.
What started as a joint Uhuru-Ruto ticket in 2017 to seek a second term in office, ending in an all-out warfare with Ruto leading the Kenya Kwanza alliance for the presidency as Kenyatta backs Odinga's bid under the Azimio la Umoja Bana.
Unakuja hapo unasema nyinyi ni maskini, nyinyi tumejenga hii reli. Unakuja unaenda Mombasa unaambia wale, na usemi ni nani, wale walichukua bandari wakapeleka huko Naivasha, na mimi utaona nimeirudisha Mombasa. Akija hapa nakwambia Muriaga itakaa hapa sasa.
Na mimi nataka nimwambie rafiki yangu rais, hata kama umenifanya yale yote umenifanya, mimi ni mtu muungwana, mimi ni mtu Mkristo, mimi sitakuwa na maneno na wewe. Nitahakikisha kwamba umeenda nyumbani polepole na upumzike na uendelee na maisha yako, uniwachie Kenya hii nisukume mbele, kwa sababu naelewa nafanya nini.
The Azimio Brigade kept on blasting Ruto, bringing up praise. Hii imeenda.
Mimi nasema hivi, mtu ambaye anataka kuongoza nchi yetu kama rais hawezi chukua Rigathi Gachagua kama running mate yake. Angetafuta mtu ya maana hapa Kenya mtu ambaye hata sura yake inaweza angaliwa. Niseme nisiseme? Niseme nisiseme? Mtu ambaye anataka kuwa rais ya Kenya, wacha nirudie, hawezi chukua mtu kama Rigathi Gachagua kama running mate yake. Hiyo ni kweli sio kweli? Hiyo ni kweli sio kweli? Ya pili, watu wa Kericho, wacha niwaambie nyinyi ukweli. Tumetembea katika nchi yote. Tumeenda huko Pwani, tumeenda huko Western, tumeenda huko Nyanza, tumeenda huko Northeastern, tumeenda Ukambani. Hii uchaguzi ya 2022 hii ya mwezi ujao, hii imeenda. Hii imeenda. Hii imeenda kabisa. Hii imeenda. Hii imeenda. Hii imeenda. Sasa maombi yangu ni hii peke yake. Maombi yangu ni hii peke yake. Mimi naomba watu ya Kericho, watu ya Bomet, watu ya Wasingishu, musidanganywe, mubaki nje. Tafadhali mupande hii train, tuende pamoja Kanani. Si mnajua baba anapeleka wapi watu? Mimi sitaki watu ya Kericho wabaki kwenda Kanani. Hatutaki Kenya yoyote abaki kwenda wapi?
On the 15th day of August, 6 days after the elections, the IEBC chair Wafula Chebukati was ready to announce the results, but chaos erupted. Chaos was as a result of Azimio la Umoja disputing results that were not yet released. Ni wajibu wa kila mwananchi kuitafuta amani kila siku. Hivyo ndivyo maendeleo yetu yatapanda vizazi na vizazi. Ni wajibu wa kila mwananchi kuitafuta amani kila siku. Hivyo ndivyo maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya. Ona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya. Ona maendeleo. Ona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya. 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 Ona yangu Kenya. Ona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya. Ona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Out of the 7 IEBC commissioners, 4 did not accept the results and headed to Sarova Hotel, Nairobi to release a press statement terming the final phase of verification. Asopek, Boya Molu, and Gulie were the only ones who were at Bomas with Chebukati during the release of William Ruto was declared winner.
Wafula Chebukati, chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei of ID number 6847208 has been duly elected as the president of the Republic of Kenya under the provisions of Article 138 of the Constitution in the presidential election held on 9th of day of August 2020.
After Chebukati declared William Ruto as the Kenya's 5th president-elect, the Azimio leader Raila Odinga and his brigade headed to KICC and termed the results as null and void and promised to take legal actions against Chebukati and Ruto.
A majority of the commissioners walked out and held a press conference where they denounced the results. Our view in Azimio is clear. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void. I repeat, the figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law. In our view, there is neither a legally and validly declared winner nor a president-elect. Mr. Chebukati's announcement purporting to announce a winner is a nullity. He acted with gross impunity and in total disregard of the Constitution and our laws. He could have plunged our country into chaos had our supporters not exercised great restraint.
Now, during his 5th stab as the Kenya's 5th president, presented his evidence at the Supreme Court of Kenya, evidence that supported their petition on election rigging claims.
Evidence cannot be this. Can I do Next president! Next president! The next!
I call upon members of staff to come and take
The election petition was heard and lawyers submitted their evidence. Willis Otieno singing the Mimi's childhood game and Julie Soweto showing how Venezuelan Jose Camargo interfered with results, but according to the CJ Martha Koome, all this was hot air and a wild chase goose.
I'm asking that we go to the forms portal in the IBC. We are projecting it up. This is the IBC's own document. We're asking that you open on your own devices, but even as we show, Murang'a County, Kangema, Muguru, and Gasharaigo, Primary School 02. This is live. My lords and my ladies, we have downloaded a Form 34A from the IBC portal. And I'd like the court to just scrutinize this form before we go to other details. From where I am, my lords and my ladies, is that the IEBC stamp? It's on the IBC portal, looking like it's been superimposed over another stamp. We have been asked to show how are the figures changed. My lords and my ladies, if we look at the votes cast, the first figure on the form is for Raila Odinga, 55. It's followed by William Ruto, 260. It's followed by, I think that's Mwaure Waiga, 001. And the last is Wajakoya, 000. If we sum up the total votes, we get 316. The total votes cast according to this particular form is 321, different from what we have just seen. The rejected votes are 4, which means already by calculation there is a problem. But we'd like the court to look at the total number of registered voters. A close scrutiny of the form shows that the number was probably 455, and the 5 is actually similar to the figures written in the votes cast. But somebody or somehow that figure has been changed to make it look like 488. It is obvious to the naked eye when you look at that form. Now, when we go to now the bombshell itself, the top left-hand corner of the form, we were told by my colleague, Mr. Gumbo, there were no foreigners in this election. We were told the foreigners left before the 8th of August. We were told they did not even have access to maintain the server. This is on the 9th of August, and at the top left-hand corner there is the name of one of the Venezuelans, Jose Camargo. This is the person who decided the president-elect of the country.
Section 6 of the Elections Act required the register to be opened for inspection 90 days before the date, the notice of a general election. The notice came out on the 20th of January. The register ought to have been opened 90 days before the 20th of January for inspection. He didn't do it. He gave the auditors the report so late. But they still pointed out that your register has a problem, and he took no remedial action. He proceeded to conduct the elections in the way that he desired. What he ended up doing is what my grandmother, Sophia Magambo, calls Nairobi Karafu, Pata Potea. Nairobi Karafu to mean at the National Tallying Center. It is, and we've averted on our affidavit, the national chairperson of the commission called both Raila Odinga and William Ruto. The whole day, nobody knew who the winner was. Even the commissioners didn't know the results because tallying had stopped. I refer to the affidavit of the 11th respondents. They have confirmed even them, they were concerned. Why has the open display stopped? Why are you not announcing the results per constituency as you were doing before? That is what I'm saying my grandmother calls Nairobi Karafu. And my niece Mimi calls Piki Piki Ponki Pakamielo Disco. Because he called both of them. He called both of them. And he was the only person who knew who the disco would land on. It could have been either of them. It could have been William Ruto, it could have been Raila Odinga. It fell on William Ruto and he says, voila, you are the president. Is that how we intend to choose our national executive? We've reduced it to Mimi's childhood game of Piki Piki Ponki Pakamielo Disco.
Council again.
Yes, my lord.
I did give you brother.
We turn to Form 34A for Gasharaigo Primary School, which was sensationally presented by Madam Judy Soweto advocate to show that one Jose Kamango accessed the RTS and interfered with the result contained therein. This also turned out to be no more than hot air, and we were taken on a wild goose chase that yielded nothing of probative value. The Kim's kit relating to Songonyo Primary School, which bore the same serial number with another, was admitted by IBC as an inadvertent manufacturer's error. We are also satisfied that the two kits and other identifying features that were markedly different, including the timestamps and polling.
And that is how Ruto's win was upheld by the Supreme Court.
Nikiweka tu Biblia Tuesday chini, mimi na wao.
After the Supreme Court upheld Ruto's win, the fifth head of state, William Ruto, was sworn in on 13th September 2022.
Please repeat after me. I,
William Samoei Ruto,
in full realization of the high calling I assume as President
of Kenya,
of the Republic of Kenya,
do swear
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution.
So
help me God.
After the head of state was sworn in, appointed a tribunal to probe on alleged gross misconduct of the Cherera Four, that is Juliana Cherera, Irene Masit, Francis Wanderi, and Julius Nyangaya. The tribunal was led by High Court Judge Agri Muchelule as the chairman, members Caroline, Linda, Matthew, and Said Khamis. Different results were brought out different from those released by Wafula Chebukati, alleging that the Azimio presidential candidate clinched the presidency with 57.53% of the vote cast. The whistleblower, who claims to be an employee of the IEBC, alleging that the results were altered in favor of Ruto, giving 8,170,355 votes as the number of votes garnered by Odinga against Ruto's 5,915,973 votes, which he says is 41.66% of the total votes cast. Though STV could not independently verify the authenticity of the reports, the Azimio la Umoja side believes it is true.
What we have seen in one of the pages is that at one point 144 constituencies had their results verified. And often at times, those results are far from the results that were announced by IEBC, 144 of them. The whistleblower is not hiding his identity. This is a study that has been done by a group known as Vanguard Africa, a non-profit organization that partners with pro-democracy leaders across Africa.
President Ruto came under criticism following the sensational claims during the last address of Chebukati as the IEBC chair on plot to assassinate the former IEBC boss, Wafula Chebukati.
But now we hear there was all this basically treasonous plan, because that is treason, to plan to interfere with the will of the people of Kenya. Therefore, the president can help this country by addressing it within the constitution, but not on public platforms, because you see, President can't complain to us. He complained to us to help him how. What can we do for him? Because we gave him the power.
Raila Odinga's supporters thronged Jacaranda Stadium, which is located in Embakasi East, whose legislator is Babu Owino. During the rally, Raila Odinga came with fresh demands, giving Commonwealth 2 weeks to come to Kenya and have an independent investigation on the 2022
Commonwealth Secretariat na United Nations itume inspectors hapa Kenya, sio Bwana Ruto. Tumeelewa vizuri? Within the next 2 weeks, la sivyo Wakenya watachukua hatua yao wenyewe.
Wakenya kuungana pamoja kufanya peaceful demonstration, peaceful protest mpaka haki ifanyike. There can be no peace without electoral justice.
Ujue, tusipofuatilia kura ya baba, maisha yako ndio itaendelea kuzoroteka. Vita ni ya mwananchi, na wale wanyakuzi wamenyakua kura za wananchi na kutumia vibaya.
Majority wanne walisema baba ameshinda, ni 3 walisema ni Ruto. Tuko pamoja? Munakubali baba ndio alishinda hiyo kura?
Odinga trained his guns to former IEBC commissioners Wafula Chebukati, Abdi Gulie, Boya Molu, alleging that they visited his home prior to the declaration of the presidential results and threatened to expose what they demanded from him.
Nataka niwaulize hao, mlienda kwa nyumba ya baba kufanya nini? Wale mama walikuja kwangu kufanya nini? Waliomba nini? Waliomba nini? Sio kwa mimi niko na picha yao. Runinga. Ukicheza mimi ndio toa.
Wale watu walienda kwa Tuju, wakatoka mkono tupu. Halo? Wakaenda kwa baba, wakatoka mkono tupu. Sasa wewe unafikiria kutoka kwa baba walienda kwa nani? Kwa nani? Hiyo video yote ya Chebukati tutoe hapa, tufukuze mwizi. Ama namna gani?
Saizi mnasema ya kwamba mnataka DCI afanye investigation ya uchaguzi. Huyo DCI si Ruto ndiye alimweka hapo.
The Azimio leader further accused President Ruto of interfering with institutions. Raila claimed that Ruto was behind boardroom changes at Safaricom.
The drastic leadership changes that Uda is implementing at the Safaricom, the removal of its chair and the targeting of others will bring Safaricom to its knees.
Nani hawezi kuona kwamba nchi hii tayari imegawanyika? Nani kipofu Kenya hii?
Odinga told his supporters that his push to have the IEBC exposed over the 2022 polls is unstoppable. Ruto, on the other hand, slammed him on what the IEBC commissioners were doing at his home, and he was a presidential candidate.
Listening yesterday to one of our politicians who was alleging that members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission went to his house. And he's telling this story 5 months after the act. And he's volunteering this information laced with insinuations that the officials had gone there for something he has not disclosed. It begs the question, if it is true, what were these officials doing in your house at your invitation? Being a candidate, how did you end up inviting officials of an independent body to your house? It also begs the question, you had an opportunity to bring up this evidence of alleged bribery before 7 judges of the Supreme Court. You did not. You have instead chosen to take this big announcement to a political rally. I can see that the job of a prosecutor is really difficult.
The Azimio leader urges his supporters to be against Ruto's administration and promises that he will ensure that Zakayo Mtoza Ushuru leaves the top office that belongs to him as he continues drumming up for justice.
Lakini shetani ikaingia huko katikati. Na ile kikombe tulikuwa tumebeba kanyakuliwa na mwewe. Na yule Zakayo Mtoza Ushuru. Ndio sababu simerudi sasa hapa. Nimesikia sana yale maneno ambaye Apostle amesema. Apostle ameongea na sisi, akatuambia sisi ya kwamba sisi kama wanasiasa tuelewane, tulete maelewano kati ya Wakenya, azizi tulete moto. Nimesikia yale yote kabisa. Ambia sisi tunasema tunataka kile tunatakana haki, justice. As Bishop marehemu Desmond Tutu wa Afrika Kusini alisema, that without truth there can be no justice. Without justice there can be no freedom. Without freedom there can be no peace. Without peace there can be no development. And tunasema truth, justice, freedom, then development.
On the other hand, as Ruto launches development projects, he told off the Azimio leaders over their plans to hold rallies across the country.
Sasa nyinyi wangwana, watoto wenu mumewapeleka bunge kule Arusha, mumewapeleka wengine ng'ambo. Alafu watoto hawa wa Kenya ati mnawapeleka Kamukunji ati na Chagaranda ati waende wapigane mawe. Bwana, kwani mnatuona tuko wafala kiasi gani? Yaani mnachukulia Wakenya wako wafala kiasi gani? Mambo ya watoto wenu na biashara zenu mnapanga, alafu ya hawa wengine mnataka kuwapiganisha hapa. That I will not allow.
Odinga had earlier announced that he does not recognize Ruto as president and plan to hold more rallies across the country to pile pressure on the government to step down, but Ruto says those are sideshows.
Ile mimi siwezi kufanya ni kukubali ati watu wachache ati wanilete, ati wanibebe, ati nishughulike na mambo yao, na mambo ya familia yao, ati na biashara yao, niwache kazi ya wananchi milioni 50. Hiyo sitafanya. That one I will not do. Tukubaliana tu mapema.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja vowed to push to have Azimio leaders in Nairobi set aside their political affiliations and work with the Kenya Kwanza government. But the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said they must first show allegiance to the president.
Bali nilete wa MCS wote wa Nairobi, wabunge wote wa Nairobi, wa UDA, wa ODM, wa Wiper, senator wetu, women rep, we come and just talk development. Because the people they represent are the people you're leading.
Governor, umesema mzuri. Unataka ulete hao viongozi waongee na rais. Lakini wapite kwangu kwanza tujadiliane. Kwa sababu wiki iliyopita kwa maandamano, mkubwa ya wengine alisema hatambui William Ruto kama president. Na walikuwa pale wakapiga makofi. So wapite kwangu wa confirm ya kwa
Steve, Brighton, Kenya's political face, STV.